The Haunted School and Other Stories. The Haunted School. When I saw the girl in the empty classroom, I wondered why she was dressed in the wrong uniform. Only the primary section girls wear skirts in our school, and this girl looked like she was my age. And what was she doing in an empty classroom when everyone was in the quadrangle, rehearsing for the school day? I only had time to notice that the girl looked desperately sad before she shimmered and disappeared. And then there was no room for individual thoughts, only a roaring in my head, and above that, beating like a rhythm gone mad. A ghost! A ghost! I don't know how long I stood there, peering cautiously into the classroom, feeling my heart thudding away, as if it had taken over my entire body. Then, Anushka was beside me, bringing normalcy back into my life as she asked, "What's taking you so long?" "Anu," I said, and I was surprised at how calm I sounded. "I saw a ghost." Anu more than made up for my calm. Her eyes bulged and her mouth opened wide. "What?" she asked. "She was standing right here," I said. Anushka had a disbelieving expression on her face, and I couldn't blame. Who had ever heard of a school being haunted? "And?" Anushka asked, her voice a nice blend of curiosity and disbelief. "She was wearing a uniform," I said, "but not the right one. She was in a blue skirt and a white shirt." "A primary section student?" Anushka guessed. "Who wandered in here?" "Where did she go then?" I asked. "She's lucky the Thakur didn't see her," Anushka joked. "Otherwise she would have been running around the field with the other defaulters." Mrs. Thakur, known among the students as the Thakur, was a senior teacher who had made it her life's mission and sometimes religion to ensure that every rule breaker was punished. It was the Thakur who slammed the school gates shut every morning, locking out all those who were late. It was the Thakur who prowled the corridors, pouncing on erring students. As Anu and I hurried through the deserted corridors towards Mrs. Sharma and the rest of the school, I was conscious of a sense of unease. What if something was following us? Something ghostly that would lay its light fingers on my arm. And then, almost as if I had conjured up something, I heard footsteps behind us. I didn't dare turn, and it was almost a relief to hear a cold voice ask, "Where are you girls going?" It was the Thakur, of course. Anu and I shared an agonized look before we turned to face the teacher. Mrs. Thakur was a tall woman, and her severely scraped back hair gave her face a frighteningly mask-like quality. The sharp edges of her sari, sticking out from her shoulder like a cruel appendage to her arms, created an impression of someone who was all angles and edges, a pitiless, harsh woman with no hint of softness. She was waiting for a reply, an air of reasonable calm on her face. The calm, as every student in the school knew, was deceptive. The Thakur could strike like a cobra, and unwary children found themselves cut off in the middle of explanations. I stood by in silence and allowed Anu to explain why we were wandering around, while everyone else was gathered in the quadrangle. Anu's mother was a senior teacher in our school, which gave Anu the kind of immunity that you would expect a bulletproof vest to provide. Her explanation was polite and convincing, leaving the Thakur nothing to say, except a disgruntled, "All right, go on." Despite the ghost I had seen, I felt a sense of exultation at having scored off the Thakur, and Anu and I shared a silent, sideways grin of jubilation. And then, once we had turned a corner and were out of sight of the teacher, we ran, giggles escaping from our mouths. The rest of the day went
Sample complete. Ready to continue?